The Sabaeans or Sabaeans were an ancient people speaking an Old South Arabian language who lived in what is today Yemen, in the southwest of the Arabian Peninsula. Sabaeans inhabited the biblical land of Sheba, a trading state that flourished for over 1,000 years in modern-day Yemen. Modern archaeological studies support the view that the biblical kingdom of Sheba was the ancient Semitic civilization of Sabaeans in Yemen. Between 1200 BCE until 275 CE with its capital Marib. The kingdom fell after a long but sporadic civil war between several Yemenite dynasties claiming kingship, resulting in the rise of the late Himyarite kingdom. Sabaeans are mentioned in the biblical books Job, Joel, Ezekiel, and Isaiah, and in Ayat 2-62, 5-69, and 22-17 of the Quran. History. The ancient Sabaean kingdom probably arose sometime in the 2nd millennium BCE. It was conquered, in the 1st century BCE, by the Himyarites. After the disintegration of the first Himyarite kingdom of the kings of Saba and Durraidan, the Middle Sabaean kingdom reappeared in the early 2nd century. The Sabaean kingdom was finally conquered by the Himyarites in the late 3rd century, and at that time the capital was Marib. It was located along the strip of desert called Sehad by medieval Arab geographers, which is now named Ramlat al-Sab _Atain. The Sabaean people were South Arabian people. Each of these had regional kingdoms in ancient Yemen, with the Minyans in the north and Wadi al-Jawf, the Sabaeans on the southwestern tip, stretching from the highlands to the sea, the Katabanians to the east of them and the Adramites east of them. The Sabaeans, like the other Yemenite kingdoms of the same period, were involved in the extremely lucrative spice trade, especially frankincense and myrrh. They left behind many inscriptions in the monumental Musnad alphabet, as well as numerous documents in the cursive Zabur script. The Book of Job mentions the Sabaeans for slaying his livestock and servants. In the Res Gesta Divi Augusta, Augustus claims that, by my command and under my auspices, 2 armies were led at about the same time into Ethiopia and into Arabia, which is called the Blessed. Great forces of each enemy people were slain in battle and several towns captured. In Ethiopia the advance reached the town of Nabata, which is close to Meroe. In Arabia the army penetrated as far as the territory of the Sabaeans and the town of Marib. Religious practices. Muslim writer Muhammad Shukra al-Alusi compares their religious practices to Islam in his book al-Arab fi Awal al-Arab. The Arabs during the pre-Islamic period used to practice certain things that were included in the Islamic Sharia. They, for example, did not marry both a mother and her daughter. They considered marrying 2 sisters simultaneously to be a most heinous crime. They also censured anyone who married his stepmother, and called him Dizon. They made the major Hajj and the minor Umrah pilgrimage to the Kaaba, performed the circumambulation around the Kaaba, Tawif, ran 7 times between Mounts Safa and Marwa, through rocks and washed themselves after intercourse. They also gargled, sniffed water up into their noses, clipped their fingernails, plucked their hair from their armpits, shaved their pubic hair and performed the rite of circumcision. Likewise, they cut off the right hand of a thief. Muhammad Shukra al-Alusi, Bull al-Arab fi Awal al-Arab, Volume 2, p. 122. A late Arabic writer wrote of the Sabaeans that they had 7 temples dedicated to the 7 planets, which they considered as intermediaries employed in their relation to God. Each of these temples had a characteristic geometric shape, a characteristic color, and an image made of one of the 7 metals. They had 2 sects, star and idol worshippers, and the former doctrine was similar to one that come from Hermes Trismegistus. Quran. The Sabaeans were mentioned in the Quran twice. People of Saba. The Quran mentions the kingdom of the Saba in the 34th chapter. The Quranic narrative from Surah 27:5 has Sulayman getting reports from the hoopoe bird about the kingdom of Saba, ruled by a queen whose people worship the sun instead of God. Sulayman sends a letter inviting her to submit fully to the one God, Allah, Lord of the worlds according to the Islamic text. The Queen of Saba is unsure how to respond and asks her advisors for counsel. They reply by reminding her that they're of great toughness, in a reference to their willingness to go to war should she choose to. She replies that she fears if they were to lose, Sulayman may behave as any other king would, entering a country, despoiling it and making the most honorable of its people its lowest. She decides to meet with Sulayman in order to find out more. Sulayman receives her response to meet him and asks if anyone can bring him her throne before she arrives. A jinn under the control of Sulayman proposed that he will bring it before Sulayman rises from his seat. One who had knowledge of the book proposed to bring him the throne of Bilqis in the twinkling of an eye, and accomplished that immediately. 6. The queen arrives at his court, is shown her throne and asked, "Does your throne look like this?" She replied, "As though it were it." When she enters his crystal palace, she accepts Abrahamic monotheism and the worship of one God alone, Allah.